making corporations more powerful than governments. Speakers here today will talk about how the TPP affects jobs and wages, internet freedom, copyright and other intellectual property, the environment, specifically fracking, food safety, and GMOs. But I specifically want to address the issue of how the provisions in trade agreements like the TPP are already affecting governments' abilities to enforce their own laws. The President, Obama, has clearly done a 180 on all his campaign promises regarding trade.
Regarding everything.
What a surprise. When asked if he supports limiting trade agreement provisions that grant foreign investors greater rights than U.S. residents or businesses, Obama said, and I quote, "Yes, no foreign investor should ever have greater rights in the U.S. than an American. However, leaked texts reveal the Obama administration is pushing for provisions in this TPP that would allow foreign investors to challenge U.S. laws, regulations, and court decisions in international tribunals to which U.S. citizens and U.S. businesses operating domestically would not have access." Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of how this is being done already on other trade agreements that have these investor-state clauses. Deaths from smoking are the #1 preventable cause of death. And countries have developed many regulations to prevent tobacco manufacturers from pushing their horrible product. Australia, for instance, decided that cigarettes should be sold in plain packets marked only with shocking health warnings. But using a trade agreement that Australia struck with Hong Kong, the tobacco company Philip Morris has asked an offshore tribunal to award it a vast sum in compensation for the loss of what it calls its intellectual property. Can you imagine tobacco intellectual property?
Packaging.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Yeah.
They have no intellect.
They are also trying to block warning labels in plain packets in Uruguay. Now, to give you an example of the differential of power, Uruguay as a whole country only has a GDP of $44 billion. Philip Morris has financial assets of $121 billion. So you see, and what I've heard is it's only from the money from the Bloomberg Foundation, so Michael Bloomberg is doing something good anyway, that's helping Uruguay fight in this trade tribunal. A ban on flavored cigarettes already lost in a WTO tribunal. Argentina imposed a freeze on people's energy and water bills. It was sued by the international utility companies and has been forced to pay out over $1 billion in compensation. In El Salvador, local communities managed at great cost, 3 campaigners were murdered actually, to persuade the government to refuse permission for a vast gold mine which threatened to contaminate their water supplies. So the Canadian mine company is suing El Salvador for $315 million, which is the loss of its anticipated future profits. That's going to happen in Canada, by the way, where they just passed a fracking ban in the province of Quebec. Yeah. In Canada, the courts revoked 2 patents owned by the American drug firm Eli Lilly on the grounds that the company had not produced enough evidence that the drugs had the beneficial effects it claimed. So Eli Lilly is now suing the Canadian government for $500 million and demanding that Canada's patent laws are changed to suit the corporations. So these investor-state disputes are enforced by panels which have none of the safeguards we expect in our own courts. The hearings held in secret. The judges are corporate lawyers, many of whom work for companies of the kind of the cases they hear. Citizens and communities have no legal standing, and there is no right of appeal. So the question is whether members of Congress are going to follow Obama, who wants to ram this agreement down our throats via fast track, or stand with their constituents. Lance Simmons will talk more about fast track. People are sick of politicians in the pockets of big business who continue to push these corporate power grabs. We are calling on Barack Obama, Harry Reid, and Nancy Pelosi to immediately abandon the TPP. And focus instead on the work that needs to be done to improve the health of our economy and our environment.